So, Carrie, I've been thinking about little moves having big impact, and I'm writing this email for Giving Tuesday to talk about how little things can have big impacts. If it's just hitting like on a story or making a little comment of encouragement to somebody, whatever. And I was wondering, since we've kind of talked about that in the lab, if you can talk a little bit more about that and maybe even share one of your favorite examples of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. Well, I love that. I love that that part of the lab is making this impact and traveling into your folks' inboxes. Yeah, I mean it's really one of the most powerful concepts we talk about in the lab is how the things that we do, sometimes we might like do something on purpose in order to achieve maybe a certain result. Like we have a certain kind of idea in mind of what we want to have happen. Um, Sometimes the things we do can have such a ripple effect and have an impact that's like beyond anything we could have ever imagined, or it can have a lot of different little impacts. A lot of different positive things can come out of these like little steps that we take, or maybe bigger, bolder steps, right? Um, and that can be really motivating and be one of the things that kind of gives us the courage or sort of galvanizes us to actually take a step to recognize what an impact some of these small steps can make. And so if you think the folks who are watching this, like think about, something in your life that is positive and like trace it back to like what was the first like little step that I took that put that into motion. So I think that it's easy to talk ourselves out of doing things because it might not like work. And if you can expand your idea of working out to include some of these unexpected wins, it can be powerful. You asked for a story. I'm thinking about there's so many times that these like little steps have ended up having a big impact for me. There was a place called Top Drawer Thrift in Austin, Texas that is the sort of like retail arm of an organization that provides housing um, and assistance to HIV to Austinites living with HIV and AIDS. And I went for like a 1 day thing to paint their mural, and I ended up like volunteering there for almost for many many months, and like it was like one of the most joyful parts of my whole nomadic adventure. Um, and I think about the impact that people have made on me, like just moments where somebody was maybe a little more generous than they had to be, like in just everyday life. I It comes to mind the time that I first sold my first painting. So I'm a coach and I teach these courses online, including the lab, but I also am a visual artist, which is newer in my life. And I remember the first time I ever sold a painting, I was so nervous to pack it up and like I didn't know how to do it. And I went to the post office and like the postal worker just I could see that I said, I'm sorry, I'm just like really nervous about making sure I pack this up right. And she said, well, what is it? And I said, oh, it's a painting. It's the first painting I've ever sold. And her face just like lit up. And she was basically like, I got you. And she just threw herself into like making sure that this was packed up so perfectly. And she was just like, congratulations. And it made me feel so amazing in this moment of, like business vulnerability, right? And not just business, but like there's so much that goes into something like that. And I'll always remember her. So I think like these tiny little moments can just make a huge difference. And as you kind of think about ways that you might contribute, don't underestimate the power of like those teeny tiny steps that don't even take that much out of you, and can have a bigger impact than you might think. Hold on, this is a picture of the postal worker who helped me, and you can just see her like, we're gonna do this for you, like yay you, and it just like even now, it kind of brings tears to my eyes.
It's actually funny. You make me think of little things like I bought, I don't know, I used to have to dress kind of like toned down for like government office life. Um, which I'm sure several of my former coworkers would find that statement hilarious because I'm not sure how toned down it really was. But like I don't know. I like a good coordinated outfit. And so since I've been working from home, like I can get like even more insane earrings and like little things. And so Twin Mountain Handcrafts does these like acrylic buttons and earrings, and they have these huge like scissors that are like color speckles. And so I got these like giant scissor earrings. And sometimes I'll do stuff like that, and Matt's like, "That's a choice," and it's just like, "Wow, thanks, man." But then you go out, and somebody's like, "Oh my God, I love your earrings," and I'm like, "Yes." Like, thank you, validated. So
Yeah.
like even something super tiny like I like your sweater or whatever, which is the knitter staple.
Yeah.
Um or like that versus what was the other one? I actually so the fiber festival I went to in Alabama recently, we joked that I accidentally manifested an embroiderer, which was hysterical. I literally was saying I needed an embroiderer. And 5 minutes later I met one who lives here in
It
Woodbridge near
happens.
me, but found her in Alabama. But she came back later in the afternoon. Her name is Kathy, and she was asking me about the women's print bag I do that has like the women's portraits on it, and then it has the belief statements inside. And she was like, "How did you like? Why did you pick this fabric, or how did you pick this fabric?" And it was like, honestly, I was pissed. Like the world is on fire. Like it was post November, left my job, decided to do the bags, survived 2025, felt like a good bag theme. Um, so I was angrily searching for fabric that felt right for January 20th release date for Survive 2025 collection. Um, and found it, and then I was like, "Ooh, how do you amp that up?" And then found the belief statements and put inside. So I originally just made the bag because I was mad and it felt right, and I made a like girls just want to have fundamental rights is the bag title because I think I'm funny. Um, and then it was the first thing we've ever like sold out of really quickly. Um, and so like it just took over. But it was just so funny that like nobody had ever asked me why I put that thing together. And it was just like, oh, because I was pissed. And then it meant a lot because I was not the only one who was angry, and I am not alone. And now it's like I don't even know how many we've sold this year. So it was just funny that like I hadn't really thought about like why it mattered so much, and it was nice. Like it wasn't just the selling out part; it was like the selling out of that one because it
Yeah, that
meant
thing. And those kinds of things, it's not predictable, you know? So it when you put your energy and care into something that's like that your gut is telling you or that your values are telling you or like there's something in you that's like, you know what, I want to do something about this. Um, or it could be a creative spark, like an idea. Just giving yourself permission to put those things in motion and yeah, we can't know that that's going to sell out, right? Like we can't, and that's kind of what it is to let go of the idea of there has to be this one particular kind of win, or like I can't maybe do the idea in the maximum possible way that I could envision this, or whatever it is that can stop us from taking these small concrete steps. Um, and instead saying, you know what, like I have an instinct to contribute something that I think could help somebody, or I have an instinct to create this thing. You know, is it reasonable to give yourself permission to just do that one small thing? And then it can have these impacts that it's really amazing how, you know, when you look back and just think, wait, if I hadn't taken that like one little initial step, this wouldn't have happened. It kind of is, for me, it really is awe-inspiring to look back at those things. And yeah, so don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Don't let the kind of inability to read the future stop you from just doing something concrete. Uh, And we've seen so many people in the lab, like, you know, really start to notice big changes just from some of these small steps. And, you know, when you practice taking those small steps, um, it kind of teaches you that you can really make big things happen in your life with small moves. So, That would be my encouragement to all of y'all out there.
It's interesting, like sometimes something feels like a lot, but I don't automatically know why.
Hmm.
So I have to sit with it for a minute. And so like it's just been I think it's part of the magic of in-person events, right? Like we've been a web store since 2019. And we had a pop-up in 2024. Yes, I'm bad at time. 2024. And then this year we've done like several. And like part of the magic is actually getting to like meet people and see what resonates, but it also is just still like before every single show, Matthew hates this, but before every single, I'm like, what if nobody buys anything? What if they hate it? Because it's the same thing as like doing a doodle or a painting, right? Like you're putting a piece of yourself somewhere. Mine's just fabric now. Because it used to be like drawn art, but like, and he's just like, when has this ever been a problem? I'm like, that's not what this is about. This isn't about reality. This is about fear. Um, but like you go do it, and then to have somebody like at the Maryland one just be like, just thank you, like for the emails and for the bags and the whatever, and the idea that like anything I'm doing could have any kind of impact like that is insane to me. Um, but then I think about like really hard like crisis teams that I've worked on before, and somebody has told me once that they were like, "Oh, you should quit and do stand up," and it was like, "What is my audience? Like five sad DC analysts? Like that's not what am I doing with that?" But like at the same time, like it was all morale because they needed the thing, right? And so it's one of those things where like I know like we used to kind of half joke like it's laugh or cry, right? Like so you make the joke because it makes the difference to somebody to keep going, like in that kind of environment. And so it's funny to me that like a piece of fabric could have any impact. But at the same time, like other people make things and it means a ton to me. Like the
Mm.
walls in here are covered in art that means something to me, right? So it's weird when it's like you buying it for the same reason that someone else does it to you. Like it's a weird mirror that doesn't feel like, are you sure this?
Yeah, and that I think that's a useful like little flip to be to kind of be like, well, wait a second, let me think about when has somebody just made the like smallest little kind comment to me or like seen me in some way and maybe it was like 10 years ago and I still remember it because I have things like that, right? Where I mean, like let's take that postal worker, right? Like I remember the way that I felt. I remember I was just in Kansas City getting my hair cut. And the person who cut my hair in Kansas City, like she had also cut my hair like maybe, I don't know, 14 months before. And I just remember there was this one moment where she was just putting such care in and she just said like the tiniest little thing that I was like, she sees me. Like she's intending good things for me. And it's just like I still remember that. It was just this little moment, right? That wasn't even about the hair, you know? And so it's amazing when we can kind of go back and look at, oh, yeah, tiny things can have a big impact, or this like, why would somebody care so much about a piece of fabric? Well, think how I feel every time I look at my little notebook, or like at this pen, or like at this little pin. It's like these things become, I think of them as like portal objects, right, into a feeling or, something else. All right. Well, great talking to you, Kelsey.
Thank you.